All right, what's up, Jeff?
Hey, how's it going, Chris?
Yeah, it's all good. So we'll get right into Money in the Bank. It's going to be a little short on time this week.
Yes,
But just so before we get into the matches, just overall, like, because you watched the whole show, right?
I did. I
Or
did.
most
Yeah,
of it at least. Okay. So what'd you think about it?
it was good. I would say objectively, like match quality wise, it was maybe a little bit of a step down than their other pay-per-views they've done up to date. But that's not to say it was bad. It's just that those previous shows were just really good.
By up to date, do you mean like just this year, or like
Yeah,
basically
yeah,
Triple H
yeah,
took
yeah.
over?
But well, yeah, like I'd say like since like WrestleMania and maybe a
Mhm,
bit before that, they've had a like the Puerto Rico show was really good. Even the
mhm.
Saudi show was good from what I remember. So yeah, no, it was a good show. It has some good booking. I will say that absolutely some very good
That's
booking.
what I was gonna say. Like, it's so often like during like the really dark times in WWE, they were still putting on good matches on their pay-per-views, but the either the finishes or just the
Yeah,
results, the winners would just kill you. Like,
it was all
and this
yeah,
pay-per-view, I thought I loved every winner
yeah,
basically.
yeah.
Like
I can
that's
agree with that.
so rare.
Yeah, especially the I was very happily pleased with the men's Money in the Bank winner. It's actually
Yeah,
who
and
I
when I
wanted.
say rare, I mean for any company.
Oh yeah,
Like
of
there's no
course.
company that like I'm that like satisfied with the winners usually. Because even though like, I'll be like, oh, that's a great match. I kind of wish this guy would have won instead, but whatever. Sometimes like it won't be a big
Yeah,
deal, but like I like was so shocked at how satisfied I was with the
yeah.
winners.
There was only one finish that I thought was like dumb, but it wasn't a match that was kind of like in a division that WWE themselves don't really care about. So it's whatever. It didn't really like affect the show for me or anything like that. It was over fairly quickly. But I liked all the winners, and even in that match, I liked the winners. So
Are you
just
talking
that.
about the women's tag match? Is that
Yes,
the
yes,
one?
yeah,
Yeah, and I mean, it was really random the way Shayna turned,
yes.
but the way the crowd bought into all of that made it so much better. Like I was barely paying attention to that match, honestly, and then that happened, and the crowd just started going nuts. They were so happy she was beating
They
up
was so
Asuka.
happy. Yeah, yeah. I really like that too. I mean, the crowd again. It's kind of been a running theme for WWE pay-per-views or PLEs, whatever. The crowd because they're going international. It's been really, really engaged and great.
I
It
think
makes
that's
for
a
a
Nick
really good pay
Khan
per view.
thing too. Is
Yep.
I think he's really good at planning like show location scheduling, that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
so they can like maximize having these big shows as many times as they have the last few years instead of just. I mean, I feel like even like you wouldn't even have like shows that felt that big for like a SummerSlam some years,
Yeah.
and even
No,
when it
you're
was a
right.
big show, still it was always just Mania. Like,
Yeah, and right now it feels like every PLE, especially if it's not in the US, and even when it is, but especially when it's out of the US,
yeah, even B
it's
shows
like a
like
big deal.
Backlash in Puerto Rico, which technically is US, I guess, but
Yeah,
that's an
but
international
we know,
show by
yeah.
like all other standards. Yeah, it's like that's Backlash. They've never cared about Backlash
I
in their
mean, that's
history ever.
that's been a throwaway pay per view that I can say myself have made fun of for a long time. It usually is a C pay per view, really, usually
Yeah,
historically. But this one was, I mean, it was great. So I think that's one of the reasons why they're making so much money right now, as far as gates and attendance is. They're making all these PLEs matter a lot, whether it's through stories and advertising and just kind of like building up the hype to these shows. They're doing a really good job. They just are.
and they're getting money from the governments too.
Yeah,
Like
I mean
they're getting paid to come do these shows
that
for
that
tourism.
that part I'm like it's good and kind of shitty. I don't know how I feel about any government paying for this shit,
It's
but
good for WWE. It's
definitely.
baffling, like to me, that they pay so much for
Yeah, I
this. I
mean,
mean, I've always felt that way about like when they they run these like bills that people vote on to whether they should pay for their football stadiums
Yes,
or not.
yeah, we have the same
Like,
issue here.
bro, just build
Pay
it.
for it. Yeah, like yeah. We're not gonna get into huge politics, but I'm with you on that. I'm not big on.
But as far as the
on
company
either.
themselves taking it, like even Impact got a little subsidy for doing
Yeah,
those Australian shows,
fucking
which is
shocking.
supposed to be for New Japan. But I think that's cool that people are paying wrestling companies because they think it will do business, regardless of anything else.
I will say, regardless how I feel about like the politics behind it, it's certainly a very healthy and good sign for wrestling as a whole that people want it and that people see it as a moneymaker. That's really good. That's good. That's good for anybody that watches wrestling, for sure.
Yeah. So we'll go into the actual matches on Money in the
Yeah.
Bank now. The first one on the show was the men's Money in the Bank, which I thought was pretty good. I've definitely seen better Money in the Bank matches. I feel like they planned like a little too much craziness, which is weird for me to say because that's normally what I want. But I don't know. It was like the best thing I thought they did was the way they worked in LA Knight, though, because the crowd obviously wanted him to win. They knew he would, and they put spots in, especially at the end, where it really did look like he was going to.
Yeah.
Right? It looked like he had defeated everyone. He had broken up a few times that you would have thought like, oh, well, this is where he gets taken out. But no, he beat them up too and so forth. But then Priest still shows up and wins, which I'm 100% okay with.
Yeah, me too. It was awesome.
I think that's one of the better scenarios for the briefcase.
I mean, yeah, I love the winner. I am not as much as a LA fan as others, but I still think that like he's over as hell, and they needed to book him smartly so he didn't look like he got buried in this match because they
didn't make him look like a chump or anything.
No, not at all.
They clearly wanted you to be mad he didn't win.
Yes, I agree.
That's not normally their goal with those people that get over organically. They will just bury them because they don't want
to the side.
Think about them. Yeah.
Yeah. They'll take them off TV even. They've done that before. So
yeah.
No, I agree with you 100% on the way they handled that. Honestly, think it's the right winner. It's already creating some division in Judgment Day. It's also a realistic person that can beat Seth, because let's be honest, he's not going to cash in on Roman. I'm not even going to entertain that. It's not happening. But for Seth, it makes a lot of sense. Seth's beat him before, but he looked dangerous, and now he looks even more dangerous because he can attack Seth when he's vulnerable. I think that makes a lot of sense, and it's a good feud. And I think the Finn Balor feud was good as well. So yeah, I mean the match itself. Go ahead.
All right. Well, I was gonna say we could talk about that Finn match too, or at least the Damian Priest part of it. But if you let's finish up on the ladder match, because I'm sure there's at least a couple of spots we both want to mention.
Yeah.
The first we have to talk about is that Logan Paul Ricochet.
Oh man,
whatever the fuck that was.
I watched a bit of what he said because I saw a clip of him on his own show talking about what happened, and he said that he slipped as they were both kind of like, so his foot slipped and he wasn't sure what to do at all. He basically froze and admitted like I'm green, I don't know what to do. And like we all knew this was going to happen eventually.
I have a question. Did he confirm the original spot was like an actual Spanish fly, or were they supposed to just like spring? See, that's crazy to me. I thought maybe the Spanish fly was Ricochet's audible because they just fucked up a springboard.
No, that's
they were gonna do.
He said that was a planned spot. Which is like, dude,
how? Like, I can't even picture it. Like what they were actually supposed to do.
Either way, I will say Logan Paul is really lucky. Like the way he landed on the table, I was like, I don't like the guy, but I was pretty concerned that he was concussed.
Yeah, it was right on the top of his head. It's like the table had give, I think, which saved it, and his back did get all cut up.
It did.
He didn't actually land hard, I think, because of the way the table broke, which was probably
it gave in at the right time at the right spot. If he had been more to the side, it probably would have been pretty bad. So either way, it sounds like they're both fine. But it was a cool spot. But holy crap, the way he was saying is that Ricochet just went anyways, which I think is kind of like fucking reckless. But hey, whatever. I'm not a wrestler. And I'm not gonna say shit.
And it definitely did not look awkward, even though it was obviously botched. They struggled up there for a little bit, but it didn't look like deer in the headlights necessarily,
No,
like how
no, it
he
looked
was even
fine.
described it. But that's because Ricochet just did just go right into the fucking move.
And then yeah, Logan had no choice to follow him into it. So
Yeah, that's
it
why he
was it
didn't
was
flip
rough,
enough,
man.
really. Yeah.
It was rough.
But that's what's so crazy to me, though, is like the plan spot sounds so insane to me in general, even if it didn't get fucked up. Like, that's
Yeah,
just crazy. Both landing on the ropes at the same time like that is just how
I
can I don't know. Like, I feel like that's just like next to impossible.
there's no way that Vince would have approved that.
Oh God.
It's definitely a Triple H approved spot because Vince
Yeah.
would have said, "Hell no, you're not doing
He did
that."
some crazy shit like that with NXT too, where they would just sometimes I thought they did try to get too creative and dangerous. Like,
Yeah, man, you got to let him cook sometimes, but sometimes this is what happens, and I'm shocked they tried that with Logan Paul. I know he's a freak athlete, but like,
well, I actually said before the show that I was legitimately concerned with what specifically Logan and Ricochet were going to do because I knew they were going to do a big spot again, like the Royal Rumble, and I thought they would try to top it. And I was just like, what are they even going to do? And who's going to get hurt? Like,
yeah, I was concerned they were going to do like some crazy shit off the ladder, like and then onto the floor or something like that. But thankfully, they didn't
yeah,
do anything like that.
yeah. Like I was almost thinking they would try to like do something similar to like that spot that Dante Martin got hurt in at
Don't
the
do
Ring
that
of Honor
shit.
show.
Don't
And
do that
yeah,
shit.
I never want to see a spot like that again. Like,
No, don't do flips onto ladders. It's stupid.
yeah,
It's there's just too much. And like even Finn kind of he was talking about when he got hit in the face, and like he said he put his hands up, but like just went right through the rungs anyways. Like
yeah.
at WrestleMania or
When
whatever.
at
So like
WrestleMania, yeah, when he
there's
got
too
all
many
cut
things
up.
that can go wrong with ladders. Is basically my point here.
Yeah, you
There's too
don't
many
need
holes
to try to
where
get too cute with them. Like treat them like tools, like they are. And
you gotta respect them for
uh,
sure. But yeah, it was a good match. Like I thought it was a bit slow starting, and like it wasn't like the cleanest at first. But I thought the second half of the match was really good, and the winning sequence was really good too.
yeah, I really liked it. And actually, I'm pretty sure that was even like botched a little, the final move he ended with, but still looked fine to me because like I don't mind that kind of sloppiness in ladder matches. I feel like there should be some
I
air
mean,
of
you're on top of a
sloppiness.
ladder and you're trying to throw somebody
Yeah,
off it. It shouldn't necessarily look too rehearsed. I liked it. I thought it was
yeah.
fine.
As long as it doesn't look fake is really my only
Yeah,
thing. It can look fucked up, but as long as no one gets hurt and it doesn't look fake, like I'm more than happy with that kind of stuff.
yeah, yeah. I thought it
In ladder
was.
matches, it's how they should look.
Yeah, it was great.
And
Kick
then
ass match.
Priest got a really good heel reaction when he won too. I don't know how much of that was because of
LA
LA
Knight
Knight
didn't
being the
win.
one he took out, but I mean it still carried over to Raw and stuff, and he's gonna be with Dom on screen so much, so I mean he's gonna be viewed as like the top heel on Raw basically.
Yeah, I think he's gonna get some good boost for a while, and I do think eventually they'll turn him back face though, because he's like,
And they've definitely they're like ramping up the Judgment Day stuff. I think that's gonna blow up sooner rather than later. I think they could stretch it more, but I don't know how much they're actually going to.
I wish
But we
they
don't know what
would.
any of the SummerSlam plans are really for those. I haven't even heard much rumored for Seth,
Yeah,
Finn, or Priest.
just with how successful Judgment Day is, I might actually just try. I would try to stretch it too, because if we've already seen that with the Bloodline, if you stretch it out
Honestly,
the right
they
way,
should do
be over.
something like a fatal four way with Seth versus all three of the Judgment Day.
Ooh, that'd
Priest
be
doesn't
good.
even have to cash in. Let him lose that match. You know, does not get the
Now,
pin, but keep
now
his
when you
briefcase.
say
But have him involved.
now how when you say all four, do you mean Dom or do you mean Rhea?
Yeah, Rhea's got her own issues. Apparently, she's rumored to be facing Raquel. Which I don't mind the match, but that Raw women's division right now is
But
so
isn't
weird.
Raquel already tag champ?
She is. I assume no tag title
Spoilers.
defense.
Um,
Yeah.
man, they
Because
could.
that's what's room, and they kind of like teased it. Like the tag champs came in and saved Natty, and
Okay.
they've had stare downs even before then. I think back when Rhea first won the belt, she had a stare down with Raquel. Because I think that they want to book that. I think just for the visual because they're both so tall and everything, and Rhea winning will look great.
Yeah.
So I don't hate the match. It's just kind of random to me for SummerSlam. But I think it's just we got to get Rhea on the card, and that'll be a spectacle match for her.
Yeah, they seem to be having trouble doing that lately for some weird reason.
Yeah. Thankfully,
I mean-
I will say real quick before we get back to Money in the
Yeah.
Bank that Natty match on Raw, you probably heard people raving about it. It was really good. Like
I saw some rumblings about it. I'll have to
Yeah.
take a look at it.
It wasn't. I mean, like Natty even said it was probably like one of her like top 3 matches, and actually, I don't think she listed a couple other ones, but I think it was on the Observer website. They listed the Meltzer's higher rated ones for it, but or 2 highest rated ones. But I mean, it was definitely up there, and she's had good matches like on pay-per-view and stuff.
she
And
can work.
yeah, it was the best match on Raw. I mean, for sure. They really let him do a lot, like a lot of counters back and forth. Probably most Rhea's done in a match and sold for in a match in a while too.
I keep forgetting Rhea was like pseudo injured before, so I'm wondering if that's why they've kind of like
It's
kept her
weird because
safe.
she still rarely wrestles, and even
Yeah.
after she came back, she was still really rarely wrestling. She won the Rumble, still rarely wrestling. Like, so I don't
So,
know because it was
you never know, right?
I don't remember what the injury actually was. Wasn't it like a concussion or something? Like, I think she said something about her brain. Like, I don't
Could have
remember.
been,
I know her
yeah.
face got all fucked up. Like, I
Yeah,
know
that's
she had
right.
a nose or something, but I don't think that's what was keeping her out. I think it was. I think
Not
she
at
may have
this
got
point.
concussed, maybe like while she got her face broken and whatever happened.
It could have been that, yeah. It's
Yeah.
hard to say, right? Like they've got other programs too, so it could just be that they're trying to keep her hot.
Yeah,
on
I
the
think it's
show.
worked. I mean, and especially if that's the case, they've done great somehow having her champion, keeping her this hot while rarely wrestling and still
Yeah.
looking awesome.
I mean, if you're still hot in a feud with Natalia, like I mean, you're doing something right.
Yeah, and I actually
No
kind of
offense.
like this pattern of some champions in wrestling a lot more rare. I think it works. You can overdo it, like I think sometimes MJF and Roman have gotten a little like where it's like, come on, we got to see a match. Which MJF, both of them actually have been on screen a lot more.
Yeah, weirdly
lately,
enough.
MJF especially. But and
Great.
they've kind of done it with Rhea. But then you got your other champions that wrestle weekly. You know, your Seth, your Orange Cassidy. I think that makes for a good balance when you do have all these titles.
Yeah, I agree.
Have.
I don't think you need to have like every champion being a fighting champion. That kind of takes away from it, and vice versa.
Yeah,
you gotta have
it
some
makes for the bigger title matches, especially. But the only other thing with that Money in the Bank match I want to talk about, which is aside from the match, really, but it's like, oh, actually, we kind of already talked about it, the Ricochet Logan match at SummerSlam because that was booked.
Yeah,
but I think that's actually that's a good match. I'm kind of glad they booked that. I'd heard rumors of the LA Knight, and I was not looking forward to that as much. And even before the ladder match itself, it kind of looked like that's where they were going. LA Knight and Logan kind of had more of the back and forths in the promos.
Yeah, I mean,
I think the Ricochet one makes way more sense. They've had more actual history.
Actual history, and it doesn't really take away a spot from somebody that like quote unquote matters or is hot.
It gets Ricochet on the card, honestly.
Also that too. So and I mean yeah, I'm really happy he didn't win Money in the Bank. I really did not want that crap.
Yeah,
some people did, but I was not into
fearful,
that shit. No.
But the way they booked the match too, it was like they never even really like had a big tease that he would, which kind of surprised me.
Yeah, I mean I'm happy.
He was there. He took spots, had a few of his own, but yeah. But the one good thing about the match too is I didn't realize it until I was thinking about when I think it was Meltzer said that Logan Paul was planned to have a showcase match, is how he put it. And as soon as he said that, I was like, that's probably against Ricochet then. Because I just heard showcase, I was like, that's gonna be a flippy match. Yeah, it's big spot fest.
It's gonna be great.
I honestly bet they try to copy spots from the Osprey match.
I could see that.
the famous Osprey Ricochet match, you know.
Oh man.
But yeah, because Logan's actually lost a lot. Like I don't think he's won since like his first 2 matches he had. Because he's been to like Rumbles and Money in the Bank matches, you know, stuff like that. Obviously, he fought Roman, you know, stuff he was never gonna win, and lost to Seth. And so I guess if they're gonna keep treating like a big deal, he kind of I guess does need a win. So he can beat Ricochet. That's fine.
I mean, Ricochet doesn't really matter in the grand.
Actually, so Blaze just said it in the chat. I do not remember seeing Logan Paul versus Bad Bunny like seriously rumored for SummerSlam. I just heard people saying they were so scared it was gonna happen. And I
That's
was like, God, please no. I would
it's a waste of both
do that on
guys,
like
in
a
my opinion.
Saudi show or something if they're gonna do
Sure.
that.
Yeah, I just think that'd be a waste of both guys. You can have two guys with star power in two different matches. Doesn't
Yeah,
need to
you can
be
actually have both guys on a card, and no one will complain about having too many celebrity matches in their
not
cases.
really,
Like as long
especially on
as
the big four
it's
shows.
two matches they would want to see, like
Yeah.
against good opponents. Opponents they want to see in those spots. But yeah,
What was
it's
the
interesting note too. So like they've done it now with like Priest, and they did it with Sammy. Like after his match against Knoxville, which that was I'm not gonna say it's like because of that, but it definitely did play a part. Where after they had great showings in these celebrity matches, they pushed them like to the
yeah
moon. Like pretty soon after the Sammy one was a little bit longer and was definitely more due to his own performance. But yeah, that's kind of interesting.
yeah, and the whole Sammy thing was a Vince decision in the end to push him.
Yeah. He originally, I mean, he didn't want. I don't think he wanted the angle to go near as long as it did. It was apparently the original plan was Sammy was never even going to have a segment with Roman. It was going to be like a little Usos feud or something. Maybe KO would have got involved earlier or something. But he did. I mean, that was Vince changed that before he left and did keep him there. But it still felt up until Triple H took over. It still felt like we were just waiting. Like, oh, this is the week they're going to beat up Sammy. This is the week, and then
Yeah,
oh, they're not, and then they never did actually. Sammy actually made the turn
that's
himself.
true. That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
but
yeah. Well, we can.
we'll get back to Money in the Bank.
Yeah,
We already talked about the women's tag match. That was actually next. I don't think I really have any more to say about it other than what we talked about
no,
earlier.
really, it
But
wasn't
the
really much
turn
of a
was the main
match.
part for sure.
Yeah, it happened. Then they turned, and we'll see what happens. I mean, I have a feeling it's going to be the end for Ronda after this, though. From everything
Yeah, it seems like
I've
it's all the rumblings. It's like she puts over Baszler on her way out. I'm actually intrigued to see what kind of match they have. So if that's at SummerSlam, I'm okay with that.
it's like the one time I
Oh
wish they had a submissions match would be fucking dope.
yeah, straight up submissions or do a fucking fight pit. Oh my god,
Sure, why not? That'd be sick. I'd be down with that too.
or the underground gimmick like that. That'd be fine.
I'm interested if that's why they brought it back, just to kind of set it up for that. That'd be cool too. Yeah, I
That
wouldn't
match
mind that.
too. We'll move on to the next Money Bank match right after. But I really like that NXT Underground match
I'll have to check
with
it out too.
Eddie Thorpe and what's his name, Gable Stevenson's brother, Damien Kemp.
Damien Kempt. They like that Eddie
Yeah.
Thorpe guy. He wins a lot.
Yeah, former Carl Fredericks.
Yeah.
They got him. I mean, putting him in this was pretty big too. He does win a lot, and I definitely think they like him. He's like clearly a step ahead of like the other people they debuted.
Well,
at the
yeah.
same time. Like it's like very obvious. I think that's why they stuck him into a feud, like a real feud, so much quicker too with the Damon Kemp. And I mean, he's actually even involved on screen now with Gable Steveson and Gable Stevenson's debut feud. Kind of. I don't know how much. I don't know whether to call it that yet because I don't know if he's going to stick around after this match to even count that. But definitely, we're testing the waters for something. I think.
It looked pretty interesting. It's good that some of these guys are getting pushed for sure.
Yeah, but back to Money in the Bank. So the next match was Gunther versus Matt Riddle, Intercontinental title. Very short match. Cage match only has it at 7:44. I liked it, but definitely, yeah, that it was very short. That was my main takeaway.
So this is kind of like the theme of what I was talking about, like at the beginning of when we started talking about this. That the matches were good, but I've seen better matches in previous of their pay-per-views. Like because this one was short, and I had similar feelings about Seth Finn. Is like feels like it was a really good match, but because it was so short, it never really reached that like gear that you're expecting it
just
to.
looking at the match time, so that went 7:44. Cody Dominic only went 8:38, and then Seth Finn went 12:31.
Yeah, so I would expect both of both Seth and the IC match to be like around 15 minutes for it to really get into that that proper groove.
The one thing I thought with this Intercontinental title match they did really well with the short time was the angle of the match itself was good with Riddle's like foot being hurt and stuff.
Yeah,
I
enjoy the chops to the foot.
That was awesome. I love that finish.
Yeah, that was great. I like that a lot. Like, I mean,
but yeah, it just felt like an angle match. It could have been on TV. Don't hate that it was on pay-per-view. Cage Match actually has it as a 7.0 right now rated, which it stays pretty high for like basically what a storyline, yeah, more or less. But I think it's a testament to Gunther more than anything, really.
I think Meltzer kind of like rated it somewhat low, but his ratings were all over.
They got it on here too, 2 3/4. Yeah, that's like, I'm kind of surprised by that.
Yeah, and he gave the 2 Money in the Banks the same score, and I definitely don't agree with that either. I think he might even rated the men's one higher, which I also don't agree. Which I also definitely do not agree with at all.
Star. I think that's what he says. That means you disagree with him. No, half star. He says still in the.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that big of a deal, anyways. It's all opinion. But I enjoy the women's.
But like, he rated this Intercontinental title match the same as the women's tag. Nah.
Yeah, that's all. Nah. I wouldn't even rate the women's match, to be honest. It didn't
yeah, it was short. Actually, it was 9 minutes. I did not. Really? I did not realize.
I don't know what.
Well, the Cage match is off, but we don't need to get into the technical stuff as much. But yeah, the chop to the foot finish was. I love that Gunther finds different moves to win with, like almost every way. Yeah.
No, I don't have much else to say about this match. I mean, there was some good submission work, some good limb work with the foot. Riddle didn't look like a dork losing either, so that was good. He looked legit, but Gunther's just too strong. Just kind of caught him, and then that was that, right? So,
yeah,
it was a good match.
Kept Gunther strong, I thought, and continued this angle with them. Which we got to talk about the post match because that brought out Drew McIntyre with his big
return. Right. I
Crazy
forgot about that. Yeah, huge pop. That's great to see. That's a feud I want to see.
He looked jacked too.
Yeah, he looked in good shape.
The only negative I can say about the feud is I don't think it'll top the Sheamus singles match.
That's what I was.
But it's going to be close. So.
See, it's close to what I was going to say. The only thing that disappoints me in this is that it almost guarantees that like Sheamus ain't getting that IC title anytime soon. Yeah.
I don't think Drew should win either, though. Honestly, I mean, I love the guy. Wouldn't complain if he did, but I'd rather see Gunther go on and break that Honky Tonk Man record.
Me too.
I mean, even if Drew resigns, like, don't use that title to sweeten him up. It'll be okay. He might anyway.
Yeah, what I personally would do as far as fantasy booking is I would have Drew lose, get pissed off, and turn heel. I think that's the move.
Yeah, and there were rumors that he would. He can challenge like Seth or something.
Exactly, that's way better.
Yeah.
And then that'd be a huge threat to Seth, especially like the size difference, right? So that's a fun match. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I don't have much else to say about the match.
Well, after that was the Cody and Dominic match, and this is actually the worst rated match according to Cage Match too. Which
I don't remember anything about it.
It was literally not even like a Raw main event, just earlier in the show Raw. I was actually disappointed, and the only thing I liked about it was that Cody looked so far above Dom's level, mm-hmm. which was fine. That they should have went with that. I just thought they would do a little bit more to work with Dom's heat.
Yes,
more or less.
And I didn't really like the finish because like Rhea interfered earlier but didn't get kicked out, and then she just kind of watched them get pinned when like she could have gone on the apron to try to distract the ref or do anything. She just
it was kind of so sudden. It was like Cody was fighting like easy mode or something, which like that fine.
That
should be Dom like that.
Oh yeah, he should be.
I don't know. I expected more, but at the same time, I'm also not 100% sure what. Like I guess more like Rhea getting involved more so Dom could get more heat is the only thing. Because like I can't buy him getting it on his own.
Yeah, I mean, I would have rather Brock come back on this pay-per-view and like fuck up Cody as opposed to on Raw, but it is what it is.
Too, like he's a much bigger guy than Dominic, but Cody like gave more to like Anthony Ogogo, who I don't think is as good as Dominic. He's just bigger, so obviously that does work better, but like you need to be selling like that or something, like after some cheating, really get down some like where the crowd capitalizing on like Edie gets every week.
It's true. Like it was a bit it wasn't nothing. Like you said, it was a TV match for sure. It
Yeah,
didn't really need
just
to
a
be
way to
there.
get Cody's entrance on the show, I
Yeah.
think, which was awesome. They were singing his song so loud.
It was he got his big pop. Everybody was happy, crowd was happy, but yeah, I mean, it was definitely like a TV match or a piss break match. Like you didn't you knew who was going to win. There was no spot I remember on this match that mattered at all.
No,
I
like,
could be
really, like,
wrong,
not
but
at all.
it was just there. So yeah, it happened.
Like I can picture like most of the match, but yeah, it was very basic.
It's basically
Like,
paint by the
solid
numbers.
in-ring wrestling, like with the heel at ringside, slightly getting involved. Like it's a match I've seen like literally 1,000 times.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a classic WWE match, like where the babyface ends up winning.
Yeah, it's not on Cody or Dom either. It's just the way the match was booked itself. It was just.
But I will say the next match, the women's Money in the Bank, that was very creative.
I love this match.
Finish. I thought the whole match they did ladder spots that I hadn't seen like done, at least not exactly in that way. Like it was at least a variation. And I thought every worker in the match honestly looked really good.
Me too. Yeah. I love this match. This was my match of the night. Absolutely, no question. I know a lot of people like the main event. That's totally cool too. It was really good as well. But this match entertained me a lot. I thought it, like you said, everybody looked good. There's a lot of creativity. When there was a few little botches here and there, it didn't. It's fine because I don't really mind botches in ladder matches, anyways. Like they happen, and it didn't look terrible. Nobody looked like a deer in headlights, similar to the men's one.
No, and Trish got her face all fucked up at one point too. But honestly, like that added like too, because she played it off well.
I mean, Io was amazing. She did a moonsault spot that was perfect, like it always is. And then the finish was actually some of the most like brilliant and creative use of handcuffs I've seen in any wrestling match in a long time. I thought it was really smart. It made sense with the story, and it made sense with like making some drama between her and Bayley, and it protected Bayley and Becky. It was perfect. It protected everybody, and it was the right winner. Just great, like great match. Like I don't know, I have nothing bad to say about this match, honestly.
Yeah, like the finish itself, like I marked like really hard for that, especially when I realized what was happening. Like it was so genius. They literally could not do anything to stop her. Like
no, it was great because a lot of times
the way they were stuck together after the match. So
I know it took forever, and the Becky and Bayley did some really good like some facial reactions that like really so that they're like, well, we're screwed and we can't do a damn thing. She's just gonna win, and we're screwed. She's outwitted us. And
no one else is coming in. They're all taken out. Like they were just screwed. So awesome.
Yeah, no, I don't know, man. I really like this match. It's just really well booked, and that's something that I feel like I've said a lot this year about some WWE stuff, which I used to not say a lot of, which is really good. I really enjoy that a lot of their stuff is logically booked, and like whether who you want wins or not, they have an explanation in the match itself of why things happen, and this was a really good example of that. Like, everything made sense in this match to me. And,
yeah. Oh yeah, and like the Bayley Io dynamic since then has been really interesting too. Blaze says it's kind of like Christian and Luchasaurus almost. It's not quite as bad as Christian, I would say. I can almost buy that Bayley's not being like I can almost buy that she is actually supporting Io, but she's so over the top. They can make it go both ways still, in my opinion.
Right.
Like very easily, and it might be after Io cashes in or something. Who knows? I hope she doesn't mess up the cash in. That's my like one fear. I want Io to win the belt. Is why.
Yeah, I think she will, but I'm not sure. I don't know. It depends. They're teasing it a lot on Asuka, and I would kind of mark if they like pull the switcheroo and she beat Rhea instead. That would be like
they did have a stare down on Raw last week, but it was very brief, and they definitely teased more with Asuka. But they did have Io show up to Raw, just kind of flash her briefcase at Rhea.
Okay, at least they're doing an effort to keep us guessing. That's good. I mean, realistically, I do see Asuka wanting to put Io over and kind of like hand the torch kind of makes a
Mhm.
lot of sense.
It felt, yeah, that like always seemed like something that seemed like it could be planned
Well, I feel like
when Asuka first won, really.
I feel like Asuka wanted to do that for Kyrie when Kyrie was there too, and just they didn't have the
Hmm.
time and never happened.
Yeah,
But I do feel like that's the part of Asuka's career where she's at, where she's probably very happy and her fans are happy she won the title. But I think that she wants to also put young talent over and form the next generation. That does seem like something she'd want to do. So I do think that eventually, whenever Io cashes in, she's probably going to
yeah. Before we move on to the World Heavyweight title match, I don't actually remember if this happened before or after it, but let's go and talk about it. That weird ass John Cena segment. Like, first of all, he was not advertised.
win. No,
His
he was
music
not.
just hit, and the place went crazy because why was he even there?
Oh
And
man,
then, I mean, it was basically a sales pitch to try and get London to pay them to run a PLE there.
it
A,
was,
a WrestleMania, like a
and
stadium show,
I
basically. Yeah.
so I'll open by saying that I really do hope that London gets a Mania because it's a great crowd and I would love for them to have a show. That being said, that felt a bit gross to me.
And Triple H acted like it was not planned in the press conference. He's like, "Oh, John put me in a hard spot," and that's when
I
I
don't believe
realized,
that for
like,
a fucking
"Oh,
second. I don't believe that
this
for a
shit
fucking
really
second.
isn't planned. They were really just campaigning." Like,
Yeah, like nah, that
because
there's
people in
no
the chat were
way.
like, "Why would he say that if it's not planned?" Now it wasn't clearly. They want to see how much money they can get.
Exactly. There it's like I think you nailed it on the head by using the word sales pitch. That's exactly
Yeah.
what it was. It went on for fucking ever too. For me
That
at
was the
least.
only thing I actually disliked about it. Like I thought Cena was good in it, but
Of
it went
course.
on really long, even before Waller came out, and then it went on too long after he came out. Like both parts, the Cena solo promo and the Waller interruption should have been cut by a little bit, and it would have been fine.
It would, and I want to say Waller came off really well. He handled the booze and being against Cena really well as well. I will give him all the credit in the world for that.
He's good.
He came off like a
He's
fucking
really good.
star.
Have you heard about his what happened last night on SmackDown with him, real quick?
No,
You read any kind of results at all? So he had
no.
Edge on his show, his talk show and stuff, and he was like, basically, he was trying to like get Edge to do a retirement announcement that Edge was not doing. So, but he wanted like the retirement announcement to be on his show. Basically, was like the bit, and Edge is like, "I'm not retiring, bro. I got a match tonight." And it's against you. And they left for like 10 minutes after that. And then they come out and they did like a 15, maybe even longer match before
Sounds like it must have been
the
good then.
last like bloodline bit that ended the show. So it was technically main event. And it was pretty good. They went a long way. And after the match, like Edge gave Waller props, like kind of like almost a passing the torch thing, even though Edge won. So
Yeah, I have a
yeah.
feeling that Waller is the kind of guy that's gonna win a title before a lot of other NXT.
And it was his first match back too after he like broke his fucking leg at
Yeah, he
NXT.
healed up fast from that.
Yeah, it could not have been a bad break, but I thought they said it was a whole broken leg. Like,
Yeah, well, it sounds like if you break a bone, it's much less bad than if you tear a ligament or anything like
oh
that.
yeah, 100%.
So these guys are the
Because he
healing
looked
process for
good. He
these
even
guys
did the move again that he broke his leg on. Well, he tried, but he
got
did the
countered.
spot that he broke his leg on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's good though. Like, and yeah, like back to my point. Like, I think he's gonna be one of those guys that you saw in like in the old NXT that never won the title, but the second they're on, they just work better on the main roster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
they're more meant for the main, especially back in the old time when it was definitely more like indie centric. They
yeah,
were not
exactly.
meant for that.
No, no,
But
it's a bit different now. You're right, but like still, I think he's gonna be one of those guys. He's one of those guys too that I think Vince and Triple H are gonna like. So I think he's got a very high ceiling.
he was honestly always above that 2.0 title when that was there too, like from the start. Because one of his first feuds was against AJ Styles. Like
Oh
what?
shit. Yeah, that's crazy actually.
Literally, his first feuds were LA Knight, who was still in NXT then. But that's what turned LA Knight like babyface, was feuding with Waller, and crowd was reacting to him really good on NXT at the end there. And then after that, he goes into a feud with AJ Styles randomly. Like
Yeah, and then he had a good feud with Gargano as well. Like he's feuded with some fairly
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
legitimate main
He
eventers.
technically took out Gargano when he didn't renew his contract. That was the
That's
whole bit.
true.
It's really
That's
funny.
true.
So after he attacked Gargano, after Gargano's whole big goodbye thing, which was like a shoot goodbye, like he was really leaving at the time.
Yeah, he
He didn't
was.
know he was coming back. And he took him out, laid him out. That's how the show ended. From that point on, and still to this day on SmackDown, because Wade Barrett was the NXT announcer at the time. Wade Barrett hates this man, and that was the thing. Like even everyone that loved heels on NXT, all the heels hated Waller because of that.
Because he
He
fucked up
never had like a
Gargano. That's
good.
awesome.
Yeah, he never like he was always by himself from that point on because even the heels hated him, including the announcers, like everything. It was so funny. And Wade carries that on. Like he'll put him over. He'll be like, he's good talent, but he'll still like talk about how much he can't stand him.
I'm a big fan of that long-term kayfabe for sure.
Yeah, especially with commentators.
Yeah, that's awesome. Even if he's not there anymore, it's like talk their shit about him. But yeah, this segment itself, whatever. It went on long, especially that some matches went short, so that's even more annoying.
Yeah, so weird. They did not need to do all that. But
honestly, all
it's
it
whatever.
needed was
Definitely
like
seen a lot worse.
yeah,
As far as
I
those
mean,
kinds of segments.
it wasn't that offensive, and at least it was Cedar and the crowd was into it. So if the crowd was not into it, it would have been.
Yeah, I mean,
Bad.
everything else aside, just that surprise entrance by Cena was so awesome to see.
Yeah.
Even if you could take away everything after it, it was just that. Like, oh my god, what a moment! He just did his salute and left. Like, awesome.
I was hoping he'd get another match at least, but it sounds like he might still at SummerSlam.
Doesn't sound like
No?
it to me, honestly, from what I'm seeing. This is kind of a one-off segment. They might do a Waller match down the line, but I don't think he can work for SummerSlam. I've heard.
Yeah, probably got a lot of movie stuff in the way.
Yeah. They flew him in just for that, apparently, too. It's not like he was there. I thought maybe he's filming something here. That's why they brought him in last minute.
That's,
but no, they flew him in and
I
flew
hope-
him right back out. Right?
I hope London ends up paying for it, because if they
Oh
don't,
my God.
that would be a pretty expensive appearance for nothing.
Yeah.
Well, I guess not nothing.
But yeah, after that, we had the World Heavyweight title match with Seth defeating Finn, which I kind of agree with your thoughts that you had on it earlier. It definitely was. It left something to be desired. Everything they did was fine. It's a good match. Like if it was on TV, I would have been like, oh yeah, great TV match, something like that. But
it's like a Raw
for
main
Seth and Finn specifically, I did want more. And I didn't hate the ending necessarily. I like Damian Priest involved in both. I just thought like Finn's little distraction was too over the top. The way he got distracted was my one little like nitpick on it.
Yeah.
But as far as the plan, like on paper, I liked the ending. Finn is he's so over the top sometimes. He really annoys me sometimes.
I'd agree. The execution of the finish looked kind of weak. I didn't love it.
Very cartoony to me.
Yeah, especially for like, I don't expect that kind of ending for a world heavyweight title match.
You might as well have had a banana peel that Finn slipped on because he got distracted looking over it.
And that's kind of, sadly, unfortunately, that's kind of like on track with a lot of finishes in this fucking
They're
career
lucky
in
that
WWE.
those finishes, oh my God, yeah, we don't even need to talk about that, but they're lucky that those finishes don't hurt anymore because most of the TV stuff, especially with like Judgment Day, is so good that they can just lose all the time, and sometimes they can lose in really dumb ways, and it doesn't hurt like it used to at least.
It's shocking, yeah, but it wasn't too bad.
I mean, at some point it might catch up, but so far it's like the group just does so well, like in their promos and stuff. Which Finn is still over the top and a cliche machine in the promos, but it works better somehow now.
He's like the cliche dad of the group, right?
That one promo on NXT, I will never forgive him for after he came back the second time. Well, yes, when he said something like the mice have ran free, but now the cat is back. Like I thought he was gonna meow or something.
Maybe he watched like Super Troopers before like the show started or something.
Bro, I swear that's what he does. Because there was one movie I watched from like the 90s, and I shit you not, like 2 days later, he quotes it with but it was not like a quote from the movie. It was already like known cliche. It was just said by a character in the movie. I swear that's what he does, though. He just hears something on like a show or something.
I'm gonna say that.
He works that into his promos. Like
Oh, he's such a
one
dork.
time, he
I love
literally
it.
said, "This town's not big enough for the both of us." I was like, "Bro,
It clearly
just
is.
watch."
Oh my god, that's so funny. Yeah, the match itself, though, it was good. Like we talked about, it did feel a bit more like a Raw main event type of
I'm
match.
kind of curious. I'm gonna see what the cage match consensus
Yeah.
was.
I was expecting
6.79. So
that's-
by like comparison, that's even lower than the Intercontinental title match. which is
Yeah,
interesting.
and that's pretty low considering who's in the match, right? Like
Yeah, very much.
if it was other people in the match, I would have liked this match a lot more. But because I had such high expectations of Seth and Finn, I was expecting him to go like 15, 20.
Yeah,
I was
even if
expecting them
this
to
was
go
like
crazy.
a mid card match, like would have been. I thought that would have been solid mid card match for sure.
I'm shocked they didn't open with it. That would have.
But yeah, they opened really slow too, like they were going to get a lot of time.
Yeah, right.
Which I thought was weird, and then so it's like they never got out of first gear, which is, I mean, I think Finn is still like banged up. I know Seth at least.
Could be.
Kayfabe is, but probably a little bit too.
I mean, they always are, right?
Yeah, because Finn never took off any time. He was working hurt going into WrestleMania with like his hamstring or something. Never took off any time. Had all the staples in his head. I'm like, bro, you can chill for a little bit. You're in an overstable. You can just stand there and cut promos.
Yeah.
Like maybe he will now, because I do think they did want him for the Seth feud specifically. The story was pretty good with all their history.
Yeah.
Being one of the early Seth feuds. I think it's good for the title. So maybe he can rest a little now.
Yeah. So I can't really think of any like. I should have written them. I should have written some stuff down, but I don't remember any like specific spot in the match either that was like, oh my god, like that I hadn't seen before. It was stuff they've done already, which was good. Like they had good chemistry. But yeah, Seth won. Expected. Damian kind of like. I thought they were going to do something a bit better with Damian, but whatever, it's fine. It was fine. I'm glad it didn't like cash in or anything on the first night.
Yeah, I'm over same night cash ins. They spam them too much. First couple times, crazy. It was great, but get some variety.
Yeah, I think you got to wait a couple of years for this again because it's been overdone, and like we don't need any more swerves just for the sake of swerves. Those are lame.
Yeah.
So yeah, but like I said, the match itself was good. I'm hoping they run it back eventually, just not too soon. Maybe they could have a 3-way with Damian. That would also be cool.
Or my 4-way idea. Throw in Dom too, just to add some like.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
But
honestly,
actually, earlier when I said that, my original thought was 3-way before I like said it. And I was like, no, fuck it, just throw Dom in too. Why not?
That'd be pretty fun, and then you can do that.
Because he's trying to keep the peace right now, as like Priest and Finn are kind of at each other's throats. So
Dom
it could be like a big Judgment Day story where Seth just kind of squeaks out the win. It's kind of my vision for that.
Yeah, and then that could further wedge them apart and be mad at each other. Yeah, that'd be all right. What's the next match? Is the main event?
It was actually the main event. Yeah, so we can spend the rest of the time on that and maybe some of what happened with it on SmackDown last night.
Yeah.
But it went 32 minutes apparently, where the Usos beat the Bloodline of Roman and Solo, where Jay pinned Roman Reigns for the first time since old Baron Corbin did in December of 2019.
The old dog food feud.
God. Real quick, before we get to the main event, though, did you hear about the Corbin promo? Since I just mentioned him on NXT.
No, actually, I have not.
So it was a pre-tape. He was at like his house in like his basement, where he's got apparently like a fucking brick pizza oven, which I 100% believe he actually has in his basement. I don't think he was on a set or something. But he was burning like all his old gimmicks, like the stupid crown, the stupid hat, like stupid vest. And he said he's done with the bullshit. He's made his money. It's time to show people, how good he can actually be, or something like that. I can't even do it justice, but it was really good.
Are they going to turn this man into a serious ass-kicking babyface? Because if they do,
bro, I don't know about babyface. I think he's going to be like really like his Instagram persona, more or less.
A troll.
Like just a rich, like badass though, basically. Like he's going to be talking about his fancy cars, his champagne, $300 a bottle, all that shit. But But I don't know how much he's not going to lean into it like a comedy way, because he definitely like was humbled by like losing Carmelo. That was like part of
Okay.
a
Okay. Good.
part of the promo
That's
too.
pretty
So
cool.
we'll see how it goes. But yeah, so Roman's first pinfall loss though to Jey Uso.
In 3 years.
Yeah, 3.5, I think.
Half
Yeah,
years.
that's fucking insane.
It was awesome. The match itself was pretty good. Well, no, it was very good. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't very good.
I thought the second half was perfect. Just about.
Yes.
It did start very slow, but
Yeah.
I've grown to really expect that. Like that's just
it's the Roman formula.
They want to see, and they want to see how hot the crowd is before they even have to do anything. I think, and if the crowd is hotter, I feel like they stall more.
Yeah, it's a tactic and it works. It's not my favorite type of match when it starts off that slow, but like you said, I'm accustomed to it as well. It's pretty much what I expect in WWE main events on pay-per-views. Generally, how
with Roman, like especially
with Roman
that's been his
specifically,
formula for a little bit.
Yeah. So, but man, like there was a lot of false finishes, which they did really well. Jey winning though was just like it was perfect. Everybody was like going absolutely nuts. Roman's reaction afterwards was also perfect, where he looked like he just like
Yeah.
ghost, and he looked like he was about to cry again.
One thing
which was great.
they did good too was they did push, like in the pre-show and like the video before it. Roman had they pushed he hadn't lost in so long, 3.5 years. But to not spoil that they were pushing it because it might happen, they were also pushing Paul Heyman saying that he was going to stack the Usos like he did Edge and Bryan.
That's right. And they teased
probably even more like than they were pushing the loss thing. It was kind of like they just threw it out like this is how dominant Roman's been. And then they did that spot, but it did work where both were on your mind. And that false finish was crazy because Jey, it did take him a little while to get the finish, which was nice because that gives you like an out for how he was able to kick out. But Jey took a freaking spike and spear combo, which is an insane finisher combo.
It is.
Like, it should have killed him, and it was insane when they both kicked out of the double pin.
I did go uh-oh when he was stacking.
I thought it was gonna be it when I saw the spike and the spear. Before I didn't care about the stacking part.
Like,
I was like, that's it. Like I gave no faith, and because I still weren't 100% sure where they were going for the SummerSlam angle. Now obviously for sure they're doing Jey versus Roman, and so that means this was the perfect finish for that. Yes. But I wasn't sure if that's what they were going to do, so I was still very unsure about what they were going to book. Even if the Usos would even win, and if they did, whether they pin Solo or actually pin Roman.
Yeah, they did a good job because I had no idea who was going to win this match. And usually I'm pretty good at figuring that kind of stuff out. Especially with the Roman stuff, it's usually at times predictable. This was not. I was expecting them, if the Usos won, I was expecting them to pin Solo like everybody else.
Yeah, I think just about everyone was. I think people really did only kind of start believing when they did start pushing that Roman hasn't been pinned for a little bit. But even then, like, I don't know how much they like really believed it.
I didn't consider it at all. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't consider Roman getting pinned for a second. So that's really good. And I do think in a way it protected Solo as well, which kind of opens up a door to do Solo Roman as well.
They've been protecting Solo so well. Like I'm very impressed with how they booked him.
Which I think is going to eventually lead to like Roman Solo or Jey Solo. Well, for sure they're going to do
that
Jey Solo.
Spot in the match after I believe it was after they kicked out of the stacked pin where Roman was just beside himself, like crying pretty much. I'm pretty sure there were tears. And Solo
was like, get your shit together.
Gave him a death glare. I was like, bro, he's about to kill this man. Like I think in storyline, you're supposed to think that Solo like lost all faith in Roman right then.
You know what? I can see that. Or he's at least like he's finally seeing through the tough guy acting like, oh, this guy's actually kind of a bitch though.
Like he's trying to do his job, what he's supposed to do, and this dude's just over here crying. Like
yeah,
what?
like what are you doing right now? Like we're supposed to be the ass kickers here.
The other false finish I really liked was after Solo got taken out, it was Jay and Roman in the ring, and they did that crazy like where they were both rebounding off the ropes but hitting like super kicks. Roman hit a Superman punch, then he hits the spear though off the rebound. I thought that was it too. Honestly, I was like, God, fuck,
yeah,
spear. Like that's it.
That rebound spears won a lot of matches, so it easily could have been.
That was the pinfall where Jay did the low blow kick out that Roman had did to him and others.
Yeah, that was cool.
To Jay specifically, what 2 years ago now? I think that was that was 2020. That was the early pandemic era when they did that feud. So that's 3 years ago now. Holy fuck.
Yeah, that was the very, very beginning of the Bloodline story, wasn't it?
Yes. Holy fuck.
Like very, very beginning.
Yeah, I called back to that. And that I think when I saw that was when I was like, oh, they're for sure winning at this point. Solo's been taken out. Roman's done everything. The Usos have not hit their big splash yet. I was like, I think they're about to do it.
And then they did. Yeah, did they hit the 1D as well or whatever?
No, they actually didn't, which kind of surprises me. They let Jay get the win with the splash himself. They did like a double super kick, and then Jay did splash. But that was, I assume, by design. Because
wasn't that the same way he beat him the first time, like 5-6 years ago?
Yes. I actually don't even know if that was part of the plan, but yes, they did, because that's what the Usos did was it's all they used at the time was the splash.
Yeah.
So it'd have to have been. I'm just guessing. I don't know that for sure, though.
I'm pretty sure
it was also so Jay it was definitely solo Jay. It wasn't a double team move, anything like that.
Yeah, they wanted to showcase Jay because they're going to do the one-on-one. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And that's what they did on SmackDown yesterday too. Was they had Jimmy pretty much get taken out. Like he got the fuck beat out of him, got ambulanced out. And then that was the opening segment, which lasted like 40 minutes in total with commercials. It was crazy. SmackDown was one of the weirdest formats they've done in a while yesterday. It worked, I think. And it made it for like a fresh show, almost, I'd say.
Sure.
Because it was almost like watching with way less segments of Dynamite. Because you're like, oh, God, what the fuck are they doing now? Like, the way that the Grayson and Edge match got booked, like, right before it happened.
That's very Dynamite-y, yeah. That's very Dynamite-y.
Like, well, actually, kind of not really, because most Dynamite matches they almost never do matches they didn't announce beforehand, even if they don't announce.
Actually, yeah.
It's but it was just like the chaos felt like a Dynamite almost, you know? Like, even though they don't do that specific thing. So Jay comes out at the end. They announced during the main event, they were like, Jay Uso is back in the building. We can confirm he has came back to the building. And then they were like, we've gotten word from Roman that he's coming to meet Jay in the ring after this match. He said something like, if Jay's looking for him, he knows where to find him and so forth. So they didn't have Roman do another entrance, thankfully. They did that during a commercial. So he's in the ring when they come back. And Jay comes out, just goes nuts, takes out Solo, gets a chair. Roman is able to escape, but then he's just beating the fuck out of Solo with the chair. And he challenges Roman. He's like, I don't care about the bloodline. I don't care about any of this. Just fight. He's like, oh, I just want to fight you. And it tells him to accept his challenge or something. It was awesome.
Oh man, that's gonna be good. Do you how do you think Jay has a chance?
No, wouldn't bet on him at all.
No, me neither.
If I had to guess betting odds, I think it would be fairly favored Roman, but not near as bad as it would. Almost to the chance, like I'd want to maybe put money on Roman because those betting odds, they don't know WWE stuff that well. Like it's too
not
hot.
Early.
Something's so hot, they just think, oh, it's got to be 50-50. And it's not. It's very predictable. That's just okay sometimes.
Yeah, I find with betting odds too, like it's only very near the end, like the start of the show that you're going to get like the real odds. And then you can almost tell who's going to win.
If you look at day of, they will almost be spoilers. But I usually don't. I like looking at them like a week or so out because that kind of tells you just what fans think.
Yeah, I like that too. Yeah, the day of, like, you're right. It could be,
but they're very unregulated. Like it's not like it's not the U.S. ones, obviously, because that's the whole thing. WWE wants to get it, but it's very unregulated. The international sites they speak about all that stuff. So
it is, and then like
there's a lot of insider
Well, I mean, they're
information out of
sponsored
there.
by the wrestling companies half the time too, so it's like for sure they know what's gonna happen.
MLW, the one I always look at, betonline.ag, that they're a legitimate sponsor for MLW, which I thought was the funniest thing because when they first started sponsoring MLW was not running live shows. So you couldn't even bet on MLW shows. They were like kayfabe, act like you could, but you couldn't because they're taped so far in advance.
That's
You
so
actually
fucking
can
funny.
for the one tonight, at least.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I
That's
was
actually really
dying at
funny.
that. And the way they would try to kayfabe it, because they always kayfabe like the shows are live, it would kill me.
Man, that's good. Yeah, like I'm really excited to see this bloodline stuff unfold. I don't. I guess the only thing is I don't know where they're gonna go after SummerSlam, but I guess we'll just have to find out.
Yeah, that's why I'm intrigued by that too. And you wonder if Mania build's just going to be more Cody again, or if they have a different direction entirely. I'm still in Cody. I think the longer it goes, the more I can definitely see that working a second time.
Yeah.
And especially with Cody's going to go so hard with the Philadelphia America stuff. You know,
Oh God, yeah, and you know
he's gonna have 13 colonies on his trunks. His daughter's name is Liberty. He's gonna do something with the Liberty Bell. Like,
you think he's gonna like? Do you think he's gonna like do a stupid thing where he cracks it, but instead of the throne?
Fuck. Oh my God.
I can see him. He's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't even know what to expect from that man with this because he could do a lot. Because that's even in the logo of the WrestleMania, I believe, is the Liberty Bell.
The bell, yeah.
That sold me on Cody winning at that WrestleMania. Was when I saw that logo.
I think he'll do something cool for Survivors too, which just got announced in Chicago. Should be
cool. But yeah, we can wrap up here.
Yeah,
you ready?
I'm good to wrap it up. Yeah,
we'll just let's give a little preview next week. So I don't think there's any major shows we'll talk about. We might be able to do like a more in-depth dive on like some TV with like AEW
finally.
There's the MLW show tonight. We'll see how that goes. Collision obviously tonight too. I think New Japan's off until the G1 starts.
Yeah,
and
soon.
I believe Impact Slammiversary is next Saturday. I don't think they're doing it on Friday. I think they're doing it on Saturday.
We can probably preview that then.
That'll be a big show. I'm excited. One last thing before I go, because I did see it this morning. It kind of sucks. Macklin is out, and all they said was a serious injury.
Oh, damn.
He injured himself during the Alex Shelley match at the Down Under tour.
Oh, really?
I think they said it was a leg injury then. And I think they waited to announce that he was actually out today because they had like one more segment filmed for the build for his match. So
they set him on fire there.
That was fucking insane, by the way.
I saw the clip.
So, but they said that Bully's going to announce the replacement on Busted Open. So curious who they get there. But yeah, I'm more concerned. I hope Macklin's okay because that's a big blow for Impact.
Man. Like, at the very least, he got injured after he dropped the belt. So we didn't have another
he can get replaced in this angle pretty easily without it hurting too much. I just hope he's not out long. But
if it's a leg serious injury, hope for the best. I hope he's okay.
But I think that's all the wrestling coming up the next week or so. So
yeah, we'll have a lot to talk to. We'll have some Collision and some Raw results to talk about too, and then we'll have the preview for Blood and Guts, which will be coming up.
Yeah, that'll be nice. Maybe we'll get some answers on the other teams next week. But
probably will.
Yeah, so should be no issues for me same time next week, right?
I should be okay next week, yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, we'll make tentative plans for that then. And I'll see you next week. Thank you for Blaze for joining us in the chat as well.
Yeah, thank you, Blaze, for the support. We always appreciate it. And thanks for everybody watching. Have a good day, guys.
All right.